Hi, welcome to another green thought from the garden. I'm Angel. Thanks for stopping by. I want to talk about container gardening today. If you can see this bit of greenery, but this was some moss growing along the inside of my containers. It's actually quite a lovely color green, isn't it? I'm rather enjoying it. It's got like, I thought it was plastic at first, but I'm pretty sure that it's moss. And because I can see some little, like, is it moss? Yeah, it is. Really does look like a type of plastic. Anyway, it spurred me to talk about container gardening in the heat. I live in Albuquerque here in New Mexico, and it gets pretty hot in the summer, so we have a nice growing season. But I tried lots of self-watering techniques and lined beds and all sorts of different raised or container things. Right now I'm sitting on what is this year's raised bed to begin with, and it's got a retaining wall out of tires, which is not ideal at all as part of this Head Hutt construction. If you're interested in any of that, I got lots of videos and actually a book coming out. You can check the description for more on that. But in the meantime, what I wanted to say is that container gardening is really only good if you don't have any other options. it's sort of like replacement limbs are really awesome if your current limb is messed up or you don't have one, but they're rarely as good as the original. And the same with containers. Container gardening is rarely as productive or good as straight gardening in the ground. Now, if you live in a really cold climate where you gotta have some stuff you want to bring in, it makes total sense to have some of your big fruiting like citrus trees and things in containers. However, in my climate, it's so hot and warm that the amount of water that it takes to keep something from expiring in that climate is just too much. You'd be better off having a pit dug and, you know, a slightly underground thing that you brought back inside, even if you had to keep it in a container. In our climate, because it's just too warm. I want to show you what I got that green stuff out of. Was these half barrels. Pretty messy here. You can see this is the one that had all that growing on the side, and so did this one. And it just kind of goes to show you also that it's hard to get good drainage in a big container. Of course, that's why they make them tapered, and the tapered ones do work better. And I do recommend, for that reason, if you're going to do like a fig tree or a lemon tree or something that you bring in and out, you should put it in a tapered container so that it doesn't get, so that the drainage works really well, and make sure that you use a really good mix, because it's going to be stuck in there. It's not going to have access to, you know, what plants have in the ground is a synergistic relationship with all kinds of microbes, with all kinds of other plants, with the sun and the earth, and just a lot more room usually, even if you're in a raised bed or a sunken bed or, you know, a contained area. It's just a better, there's just more mass around them via the earth to keep the temperature regulated, both warm and cool. Now again, this is, you know, for this climate. If you're in a cold climate where you need to bring things in, or so what I would do in this case is perhaps cover things. So have, like I'm getting ready to build back there, you can kind of see back there is the beginnings of a porch addition, and that's going to be a seasonally enclosed porch. So that's where I'll keep my citrus and figs, basically, that need to be closed in the winter, but can be opened up in the summer. Yeah, so I tried some lined beds, some lined raised beds, self-watering beds. And if I were, you know, full-time gardener these days, I'm just not. I travel a lot, and so I got things on timers. I love gardening, but I just don't have the time to give it many hours a day that it takes to really be successful. So I was hoping that maybe the self-watering beds would give me some kitchen herbs on the passive way, you know, in a passive way, but and again, in a different system, they probably would if I had more regular water going into those beds. As it is, it's just turning out easier to go with, well, this is technically a raised bed, but sank beds are really my favorite, or hugel beds, I think they're called, where you're burying like Actually, my very favorite for this climate so far has been to bury scoria, which is sort of like pumice, but a little bit cheaper. And anyway, it's a porous rock, volcanic rock, and burying a line of that, and then having a little indentation so that when we do get precipitation, it accumulates in that trough and it sinks into that porous stone, and that has been pretty successful so far for growing some trees off grid. Anyway, that's just my green thoughts, what I got to say. Ixnay on the containers for hot weather climate growing. Just containers are never as good as the ground. I shouldn't say never, but rarely. Only in specific instances where you can't use the ground is a container good. If you can use the ground, because that's plants' natural habitat. If you got any thoughts on that you'd like to add, I sure welcome your questions and comments in the questions and comments section. Also, if you're interested in finding out more about like my Head Hutt, I got a book on that. Got some other books on Amazon. I got a website where you can hire me and also get involved in some of the cool projects that I got going on this year. So check out the description if you want to know more about all of that. As always, until next time, I wish you love, lightheartedness, laughter, productive conflict resolution, peaceful confrontations, awesome motorcycle rides, and whatever else you're into. Ciao for now.